Hello, and welcome everyone. My name is Ben, and I am almost a music therapist, almost a board certified music therapist. I have my board exam coming up, but in this video, I just wanted to go over what has led me up to this point and why I chose this profession of music therapy. So, I've always played music. I've always had a drive for playing piano. I started piano when I was 6 years old, and actually going way back, my friend took piano lessons after school. So I was like, hey, that seems kind of cool. But what was the reason that I did it? He got to miss the school bus. I actually just didn't like the school bus, right? I did not like riding the school bus. I thought it was noisy. I thought kids were mean on the school bus. I was like this little shy kid. And basically, I convinced my parents to sign me up for piano lessons. I convinced my parents to sign me up for piano lessons just so, because if I did it right after school, I could miss the school bus, right? It sounds crazy, I know, but this is actually where my 6-year-old mentality was when I was asking for piano lessons. Now, this did not turn out in my favor, unfortunately, because I got the 6 p.m. time slot. So because of that, I had to go home and then back to school, and so I had to take the bus anyways. So my plan totally failed, but this decision absolutely shifted my life from a very, very young age. Very fortunate to have made this decision in my life. Very lucky, honestly, that my friend missed the school bus, but call it the universe, call it fate. That's just how I got into music. My family's never really been super musical. My great grandpa played the violin. We found his violin and restored it. But other than that, like, I don't have music in my direct bloodline very much. So basically, I joined piano for that reason. Then through the years, studied with private teachers, picked up guitar, and I had always had it in my mind that I wanted to be a music performer, right? I wanted to get on the stage, and I wanted to really show everyone what I was about with my music. And I love doing that still, don't get me wrong. I still perform. I still really enjoy putting on a show for people, sharing my gift with the music that I make, making other covers of other songs, and being able to share music with people. It's awesome. But when I was going to university, or right when I was applying to university, I actually applied to some different schools for music, as well as business. I was kind of unsure what I wanted to do, but I applied specifically to the University of Miami for music, business, and entrepreneurship, right? Because I wanted to make money with music, and my dad had a business background. He manages like ETFs, exchange traded funds. Basically, like, it takes people's money, puts it into funds, and makes them more money, hopefully. Usually. But my life path has been very different thanks to this one thing where I was like, hey, I want to take piano lessons to avoid the school bus. Like, oftentimes I think back and it's like, where would my life be if I didn't make that decision? Like, my life would look so different right now if music wasn't just a core component. And it's really funny to reflect on that, but the answer is I'll never know. I'll never know if I would have gravitated towards music or not. But anyways, I'm happy that I made that decision and had that friend at that time and all the boxes checked off, right? But sorry, going back to the story. So I was majoring in music business and entertainment industries. I ended up getting accepted to University of Miami for that. And then following high school, I actually had a little bit of trouble with my own mental health. I kind of lost some structure in my life and started overanalyzing things, started sleeping less, and started not thinking clearly, and got affected mentally from that. And ever since then, ever since recovering through that, I realized that the mental health profession is where I wanted to be with music. So that's actually what drove me to doing music therapy in the first place. I wanted to be able to give back to that side that kind of needs guidance, right? Something that kind of got me out of that ruckus, you could say, was music. Music was able to kind of bring me back to reality and really allow me to process my feelings, the things that I was running away from in my life at the time, right? Music was that vehicle that allowed me to get back into everything. And music is amazing. And I wanted to really have more fulfillment with my career, having gone through this stage in my life and knowing how powerful music could be to really influence thoughts, emotions, like drive, right? Everything that we have in this life, like everything that I've had in my life has been affected through music. So I wanted to give back. So I ended up changing my major the next year. I took a gap year and traveled a little bit through South America during that time. But upon returning, when I came back, I actually got kicked out of the music school, so I had to switch my major to psychology. But I knew very quickly that I wanted to switch back into music therapy, and I still had the option to, but I had to re-audition. So that semester I ended up meeting with all the music therapy professors, and I was like, hey, what do I have to do to make sure I still graduate in 4 years? So I did the classes that I was allowed to take as a non-music therapy major, and I checked all the boxes, and I was able to transfer in to music therapy, which I really believe was the right decision for me. Being able to share this gift and also be able to influence people through the power of music. Now, when I dove into it, I really was this person that was like, oh, I'm just gonna use music to help people. Like, it's gonna be that simple. And boy, was I wrong. Oh my God. Yeah, I was really wrong. It was a lot more intense of a degree program than I was ever imagining. They really do cram a lot into the degree. There's a lot of clinical psychology through music therapy research studies that we dive into, what's ethical, what's not. We have a long board of ethics available on the AMTA website. That's American Music Therapy Association website. You can also just check out that website for a bunch of different things. But basically, I didn't know what I was in for, but in my experience, I was able to work with a few different populations. So I worked with 5 different clinical placements during my undergrad. In addition to my music performance, my music psychology, my clinical work was, I worked with elementary students at this place, at like an elementary school for kids in a Head Start program. So they were deemed kind of at risk. They didn't have a specific diagnostic criteria because they're so young. This is like 3 and 4 year olds, but they needed a little bit of extra help in sustaining attention, communicating clearly, or healthily expressing themselves emotionally. This was a lower socioeconomic status background, so a lot of these kids just didn't have a stable caregiver in their life that was able to be in a healthy state to provide them a lot of these key skills. So it was part nature, part nurture of the clients that I was working with there. Next up, I worked in a place with intellectual and developmental disabilities, primarily people with autism. This was adolescents around 14 to 21, so pretty big shift. During this, we were doing a lot of group songwriting, or like a lot more group improvisation in the moment. So giving everybody instruments and making music together was a big thing that we did. We played some games of Jeopardy to practice turn taking, right? We also did some movement and stopping, right, to practice impulse control, right? These are specific goals that we were working on there. Then after that, I worked in a children's hospital providing one-on-one therapy services in a gastrointestinal unit. So within the gastrointestinal unit, obviously, so there's problems in the stomach, right? but we would really just walk in and support them in whatever way that they wanted to be supported. So sometimes, yes, this actually was providing a lesson. Like one kid was like, I just want to learn piano. So sometimes it was working with him on piano, but we were still working on, hey, how are you going to use this to better your life, right? Like, how are you going to use this outlet of being able to play the piano, right? So there's some talking involved, as well as, music therapy is not 100% playing music all the time, right? Music is an active component and is, a good bit of the session. But as therapists, we're also therapists. We help clients talk through their things that they're going through. The next thing I did was online sessions with cancer patients. So this was people who currently had people who currently had cancer or were survivors of cancer, right? So they had access to the online telehealth sessions. I did this because of COVID. They resumed later to in-person, but this was a really cool experience. It was a lot more talking. We did a lot more receptive music experience, so they're listening to it, and we did some more song analysis, right? What is the author trying to sing in this song? What is the message of this song? Can we talk about that and how this relates to your life, right? There was a lot more of that within the sessions, right? Then my next one was very interesting, and it ties back into where I started. It was inpatient psychiatric, but with adolescents. So this was actually at the same children's hospital that I did the gastrointestinal unit, and essentially I was working in groups. It was interesting because it was like 5-year-olds to 17-year-olds all meshed into one group. These are inpatient psychiatric kiddos, so they're usually not there for more than a week. Some kids were an exception. There were some people that were there more frequently, but generally I was seeing new people every time. And yeah, for this we did some of the most effective interventions were group songwriting. So we took a song like Happy by Pharrell Williams and we filled in the blank with our own lyrics. And mind you, some of those angsty teenagers, the older ones, would totally take over the group by writing inappropriate things in the songs, but it still gave them something to connect with. It still gave us opportunities for them to be social with each other, to communicate. And no, I would not sing the lyrics to an inappropriate thing with 5-year-olds in the room, but it was a fun experience for them as well as me, but we were working on healthy emotional expression, mostly healthy social behavior, right? Communicating wants and needs was a big thing over there. And then after that, I actually went a little bit of a different path with my internship. Funny enough, I had seen a podcast of a music therapist that I really, really enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. But he didn't work with the population of people that I worked with. But I wanted a mentor. In my life at the time that could really guide me in this field. So because of that, I was willing to switch populations for my internships so I could have that guidance. And I'm very happy that I did. This guy is a superstar. Trent Barrick is his name with NMT Works. NMT Works is awesome. Go look it up, nmtworks.com. Trent is amazing. Trent Barrick, MTBC. And anyways, I actually currently work for Trent right now through his company still. Little bit online, just a little bit. But what I was doing there is I started in an inpatient rehab setting. So we're working a lot with cerebral vascular accidents, stroke, traumatic brain injury, all of these things, right? And we were able to kind of rehab physical motor things, right? With physical therapists or speech, right? We were co-treating with physical therapists, speech therapists, and occasionally occupational therapists as well. It was a very, very cool experience. But then he switched jobs in the middle of my internship. Well, he had a private practice running on in the background, right? And then he switched to that full time. I went full throttle with the private practice, and then I got experience working with kids with autism, as well as memory care and a client with a traumatic brain injury as well. That was a little bit more of a long-term client, whereas the hospital was more short-term clients. But I've had all of that experience, and I'm still not able to call myself a board certified music therapist. So what is my point? Music therapy is a very, very intense field. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but it is an amazing field. There is a decent amount of work that goes into it. Not just anyone can become a music therapist. It does take hard work, perseverance, but you learn the skills along the way. If anyone has any questions about the field, is new to the field, interested in becoming a music therapist, interested in hiring a music therapist, feel free to shoot me a comment. And that's not me just selling myself. Like, I want to help you get referrals, get to a music therapist in your area that can work with you. Like, this is, yeah, I'm not trying to sell you my product, but I do think people should be aware of music therapy services and be able to have access, right? So that's a big thing. So yeah, shoot a comment. I hope you found this video valuable, me sharing my music therapy experience, and it gives you a little bit of an insight into the profession, like what music therapy really looks like from my personal experiences. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. We did a little bit of a change of scenery over here. I had a 3-hour break at my job, so I'm like, you know what? Let's just film some content in this nearby park. We're in California right now. This is the San Jose area. So beautiful around here. But yep, take care everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.